Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. We're continuing on with college football week 12. We're on a Friday night. Got two games on the board. One of them's very interesting. The other one, the Minnesota-Oregon game, not very interesting at all. But we got two games on the board. Let's talk about it. I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. All right, let's start with Clemson Louisville and Cardinals. What happened? Punched in the mouth last week. And I was on Cal, but I was not expecting that. I had plus 20.5. Like, they beat them outright. I think that closed at 17.5, 18.5. Cal beats them outright. 29-26 in overtime. That had to be devastating for those home fans there. In front of their home fans at their home stadium, Louisville was realistically in the college football playoff conversation. I know that most people would have probably leaned towards the no there. They would have probably had to win the ACC championship game, and it was still thin, but they were realistically in that conversation. And to lose that game to Cal, I mean, I don't think they're actually mathematically eliminated from playing in the ACC championship game, but that definitely hurts. That's definitely a loss that's going to sting this Louisville team. And honest question, if Louisville's defense can't handle Sagapolatelli, and by the way, Jacob DeJesus, if you watch that game, that Cal wide receiver, Jacob DeJesus, he had like 190 yards. He was unstoppable. But if you can't handle that passing attack, the Cal passing attack, how are you going to handle Cade Klubnik and Antonio Williams and the Clemson passing attack? So certainly not a great sign that Louisville, the strength of their team is the defense. They just got thrown on by Sagapolatelli. Now, the defensive numbers weren't that bad. I don't want to put it all on the defense. I mean, the offense sputtered, and honestly, it was a coin flip game. They happened to be on the wrong side of the coin flip at the end. They should have been winning comfortably. The defense didn't play that poorly, though. So I don't want to just completely sell my stock in the Louisville defense. This still is a very, very good defense. I'm not hitting the panic button here. In their conference games, they're allowing less than 25 points per game, 4.92 yards per play, 35.5% success rate. So like I said, the defense wasn't even that bad in the loss to Cal. I'm still a believer in this Louisville defense. Do I think they're capable of making stops against this Clemson offense? Judging by the season-long numbers, you'd think yes. Clemson offensively, 55th in success rate, 47th in PPA per play. Louisville's defense, 11th and 16th. This Clemson offense, so that Duke game, if you remember, that was the first game where everyone was back. Klubnik was back from injury. Antonio Williams has been back. Tristan Lee, the left tackle, was back. So that Duke game, they were still missing the right guard, Elijah Thurman. I think he's out for the year. But a lot of their injured pieces, oh, and obviously Wesco, the wide receiver, he's out for the year as well. But a lot of their injured pieces were back for that Week 10 game against Duke, and they went nuclear. 45 points. They actually lost the game, crazy enough, but it certainly wasn't on the offense. 56% success rate, over 7.7 yards per play, and it kind of looked like, okay, now that this Clemson offense is finally healthy, they're about to light teams up, right? They're finally healthy. They finally got everyone back. But then they go on to play Florida State the following week, and this graphic is wrong. That's supposed to say week 11 against Florida State. So obviously a typo in the graphic. That's supposed to say week 11 versus Florida State. Right after we were like, okay, this Clemson offense is back, they lay an egg, and we find out Cade Klubnik is not healthy. Apparently he had I don't know which one a contusion is. He had a quad contusion. Somebody who understands medical terms. Is that a bruise? Is a contusion a bruise? So apparently, I didn't even know this, but apparently leading up to the Florida State game, Cade Klubnik was having trouble walking, and he missed almost the entire week of practice. So he had the sprained ankle originally. Then he came back, and then in the Duke game, he had a quad contusion. I apologize if I'm messing the injury terms up. So apparently we thought Cade Klubnik was back, and he has another injury he's dealing with, and we don't know how healthy he is right now. Now, normally, I would say Cade Klubnik is pretty well equipped to handle this Louisville team. Louisville, elite pass rush, one of the best pass rushers in the country. Cade Klubnik's done a great job handling pressure so far this year at 85.9 NFL passer rating under pressure. But if he's not 100%, if he's having trouble walking and limited in practice, if he's got limited mobility here, I don't know if I necessarily trust him to handle to go on the road and handle one of the best pass rushes in college football here in Louisville. So originally I was like, this Clemson offense is back. But then after seeing how they played against Florida State, the defense played great. But after seeing how the offense looked against Florida State, after hearing that Cade Klubnik is still not 100% and he's dealing with now another injury, my confidence in Clemson's offense is a little bit lower than what it was a few days ago. Now, on the other side of the ball, this is where the advantage swings heavily towards the Clemson side. Clemson's defense, 31st in success rate, 50th in PPA per play. Louisville's offense, it doesn't look that bad in this graphic here. 50th in success rate, 79th in PPA per play. But I truly don't believe this Louisville offense is very good right now. This is an offense that was very reliant on their run game, very reliant on explosive plays on the ground from Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. Here's the problem. Their star running back, Isaac Brown, he might be out for the season. He's definitely going to miss another game or two. I don't know if he's been officially ruled out for the year, but he won't be playing in this one. And their other running back, their other playmaker there, Duke Watson, he's not 100% either. He was hurt. He came back, but I read an article saying he wasn't 100% in that Cal game either. So they're two playmaking running backs who... It's kind of the beating heart of their offense are those two playmaking running backs. One's out, one's not 100%. And we just saw this Clemson defense against Florida State. Now, Florida State has had their share of problems this year, as I'm sure you know. If you own a smartphone, you know Florida State has had problems this year. But one thing that has been pretty reliable for Florida State is their offensive efficiency. Their problems have not been that they can't move the football. In fact, in terms of just raw efficiency, they're like a top 15, top 20 offense in the country. Their problems are penalties, turnovers, dumb mistakes, miscommunication. I mean, their wounds are self-inflicted. In terms of their ability to move the chains and rip off explosive plays, Florida State's offense, top 15, top 20 in the country. So for Clemson to do this to Florida State, 5.2 yards per play, 31.4% success rate. This is an elite defensive game here from Clemson. And with the injuries to the running back position for Louisville, it's just tough to count on the Cards offense for much against Clemson. I mean, let's just come right out and say it. Miller Moss has been a little disappointing this year, an 83.8 NFL passer rating in their conference games. Maybe Duke Watson is healthier, and maybe they have one of those playmaking RBs back, but I mean, Clemson's defense, look, Clemson has gone through their ups and downs this year. Even in 2 of the last 3 games, they lost to Duke, they lost to SMU. The offense didn't look good in the win against Florida State. The defense still has a 34.7% success rate. That's probably 3 of the top 4 offenses in the conference with Georgia Tech missing. SMU, Duke, Florida State. 34.7% success rate against those 3 offenses. This is still one of the best defensive lines in the country. I doubt Louisville's going to be able to run the ball on Clemson. So I did fire on something in this game. I got Clemson at 3.5. So it's at 2.5 now. So obviously I'm on a good number. I don't necessarily love it. In fact, the more I looked into it, the less I liked Clemson. But obviously, I mean, the market is saying I have a good chance of hitting this, a 59% chance of hitting it. So, I mean, I'm sitting on a good edge, even though the more I looked into the game, when I first saw the 3.5, I loved it. But the more I looked into it, the more I was kind of leaning more towards an under. So I guess at the current number, put up under 51.5. But what I actually have is Clemson at 3.5. Minnesota's on the road out in Eugene. And I mean, straight up, I'm not sure how Minnesota scores points in this game against Oregon's defense. I mean, this Minnesota offense has been pretty bad all year. 89th in success rate, 103rd in PPA per play. We're still not even sure if their star running back, Darius Taylor, is even going to play. He's pretty much been dealing with an injury all year. They're just coming off of the bye week, so I think we thought we were going to have him back for the end of the season, but he's listed as questionable. So we still don't even know if the most important player, I'd say, on Minnesota's offense is even going to play in this game. And Oregon defensively, I mean, this is a top 15 defense in the country, 18th in success rate, 7th in PPA per play. Not only has this Minnesota offense been bad, but look specifically at their road games. They haven't won a road game all year, by the way. They're sitting at 0-3 on the road. Now, at Iowa, at Ohio State, okay, they're not expected to win those games. They got beat by 2 touchdowns by Cal. So this Minnesota offense, words can't even describe how bad they've been in their road games. 6.7 points per game. 6.7. 3.64 yards per play. Again, Ohio State and Iowa, excusable. There are a lot of teams that get shut down there. But Cal, You got, will they be beat 27-13 by Cal or something like that? 27-14. This offense has looked terrible. Well, this offense has looked terrible, period. But specifically on the road, they've looked even more terrible. And, I mean, has anybody been able to move the ball in Oregon's defense all year? Look at their game logs. I mean, even Indiana, the game they lost, they held Indiana to 3.9 yards per carry, under 39% success rate per rush. So even against Indiana, the game that they lost, they played some good defense. I'm not sure the path to Minnesota scoring points here. Drake Lindsey should be under a lot of pressure. That Oregon secondary is so much better than any wide receivers Minnesota has. They're going to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Yeah, Minnesota's offense is going to be in a situation here. And when we get to the other side of the ball, the matchup might even be worse for Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota's defense has been okay this year. They're 72nd in success rate, 46 in PPA per play. They've actually been decent against the run at times. They have a pretty decent defensive front seven. So maybe they're able to limit Oregon on the ground a little bit, even though the Ducks have the most efficient rushing attack in the country. Second in success rate per rush, first in PPA per rush. I mean, Oregon just went on the road to Kinnick and ran the ball in the rain on the Iowa defense. Over 7.2 yards per carry, over 61% success rate per rush. Now, this is kind of a weird data point. It was raining and there was a lot of missed tackles, like slipping and sliding. This is just a weird data point, but it's Iowa's defense at Kinnick. If Oregon can run the ball there, you'd have to think they can run the ball on Minnesota's defense at home in Eugene. You'd have to think. So Oregon is probably able to run the ball in this game. But even if you like Minnesota's defensive front, it's probably the strength of the team. So even if you're like, nah, Kyle, this Minnesota defensive front is good, and I think they're able to give them problems. Okay, for argument's sake, I think you're wrong. But for argument's sake, let's say you like Minnesota's defensive front to slow them down on the ground. What are we expecting them to do against Dante Moore in the Oregon passing attack? Because the weakness of this Minnesota team is already the secondary, and actually matters have gotten even worse here from the Minnesota secondary because their corner, Zaquan Bryan, he got injured during warmups in their last game against Michigan State. So they just lost another corner in their last game. I'm not sure if he's been officially ruled out, but from what I was reading, it didn't sound like he was going to play. I'm not sure on that. But they just lost another corner in their last game. This is already a secondary that's missing two starters from earlier in the season. I think one of those guys who's been out is listed as questionable, so they might be getting someone back. But this secondary has been a problem all year. I mean, we just saw Minnesota get pieced up by Aiden Childs. Michigan State, 11.1 yards per pass attempt allowed. Michigan State's been struggling to move the ball on everybody this year. Look, Oregon should absolutely smoke this team. If you're taking the points with Minnesota here, you could say you like the defensive front. If Oregon gets out to an early lead, they might run the ball and they might not be able to run the score up. I guess I could see that a little bit. Also, you could say look ahead spot for Oregon. They got back-to-back huge games on deck after this one. USC and then at Washington. Two of the biggest games of the year coming right after this one. So I guess that's another one. You can say, hey, it's a look-ahead spot for Oregon once they get out to a lead. They're just going to hand the ball off, and Minnesota might actually be able to keep them from running it up. I suppose I suppose that's something. There might be a path to Minnesota backdooring this or somehow keeping this a low-scoring cover, but it would only be the Ducks here. Oregon minus whatever. What's that at 25 now? 25.5. So, yeah, it's been moving straight up. I'll say Oregon or over. No, just Oregon minus the point. I'm not touching this. Thanks for watching. Live shows at midnight Eastern time as always. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a good day. Talk to you later.